disturbing.
Hi there, and welcome to Dork Wars, the podcast, your galactic hub for all things Star Wars and more. My name is Blake, and I'm here with some of the best hosts in the galaxy. First off, the funny one, Wesley.
Good evening, dorks. What's up?
That's all he's got for us tonight. No.
Yeah.
The commentator, Andrew.
It's so much easier when I know what we're doing.
And the Jedi Archive, Dietrich.
I got nothing. Take points off. F. Fail me.
See, I copied Dietrich's paper, so that's why I had nothing.
Wow.
You always end up going first.
You know what? Andrew's overachieving right now, and I don't appreciate it, man. You're not supposed to come with something when we don't plan. All right? Come on.
It's 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 the first thing I thought of when I read this like a few hours ago.
Yeah, but it worked out though. You had the
I'm
only
not.
quote of the bunch in the openings. I feel like everyone's okay. We finally start getting on track with our YouTube and our video, and everyone just quits. You guys just quit on me.
It's so much content to consume and then prepare for every week,
really
man. I'm
is,
glad it's
yeah.
over. It's over. It's over. I'm both sad and happy.
Yeah.
It is over. Andor's over now. We have had a great time with it so far, and we are going to have another great time with it tonight. Maybe not the final great time, because we will be able to revisit. But let's go on and get into some dorky, nerdy news. Now hear this.
Now hear this!
Now hear this!
Now you hear this, whoever you are.
So tonight, I don't have much news, man. I've got some Star Wars news, kind of. It's Fortnite Star Wars news. For one, now you can go and get General Grievous if you get enough points and you have the battle pass. You
I
can
got 'em.
also get Darth Jar Jar if you play enough and get enough experience, and you get the opportunity to buy him. So
Yeah.
you don't. If you get enough experience, you do not get.
I feel like
Jar Jar.
Fortnite has altered the deal. Pray they don't alter it further.
Yeah.
Because I'm spending the money. I'm gonna make the. I'm gonna get there.
Spend your hard-earned money to get the Darth Jar Jar. It's worth it.
That's got to be worth it. Yeah, you have to first grind and then you have to pay. I'm surprised that they did that. I would figure that would, get some people out of the equation who would have bought the skin. But it's your business, Epic Games. That's your thing.
We want to know who the tryhards are. That's why they put that skin in there.
That's right. So AI Darth Vader has been causing a stir all across the internet, TikTok, Facebook, Reels, YouTube Shorts. I've seen so many AI Darth Vader videos where they're just asking him random stuff and he's saying whatever comes to his mind, and that may not always be a good thing because Fortnite, Epic Games has had to go in and kind of tweak AI Darth Vader a little bit.
Hide your kids, hide your wife, because Darth Vader is cussing at you.
Yeah, he's cussing. He's dropping the F bombs, the B bombs, the A bombs, the D bombs, the S bombs. There's no R2 filter on Fortnite. We would have shared that technology with them if they would have asked, but they did not. So, we would have charged them up the butt for it too, man. We would have made a good profit. But no, AI Darth Vader is telling it like it is. He is cussing up a storm if you let him, if you lead him that way. So beware if you are someone who has children who play Fortnite like I do. Luckily, my son is not skilled enough to get Darth Vader. So there we go.
Darth Vader, why did Daddy leave?
I did get to talk to him a little bit before or after the update, and I don't know. It seemed a lot. I don't know. A lot of it seemed to be like really too safe. You know what I mean? It almost seemed like it was dialed back a lot. So
Too
I
much.
don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. I only got a little bit of a chance to do it, and I haven't even tried to do it again. It kind of is just like a little gimmick, but it's cool.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, he's got some really cool answers. So me and Wesley got a hold of Vader for a couple games the other night, and I was in my Darth Vader skin, and he was in his Emperor Palpatine skin. I didn't notice this until halfway through the game. He kept calling me the imposter, and I'm like, what does that even mean? And then he starts referring to Emperor Palpatine. Anytime Wesley would make a kill, he would refer to Emperor Palpatine, and he made a great shot, or Emperor Palpatine in a TIE fighter is so blah blah blah. He would comment and use his name.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, that's pretty cool. Oh, I'm the imposter because I'm Darth Vader. I'm
Yeah.
the Darth Vader skin. So he called me an imposter. It was pretty neat. It's very intuitive. From
Yeah.
what I've seen, like even if it's not Star Wars skins, he will call your skin out by name. Like I've seen him call out Peter Griffin and people like that, like the buff Peter Griffin skin.
It's kind
So
of funny being called an imposter by AI.
right,
Yeah. Good
little
point.
meta. Yeah,
Yeah.
it would really suck if he got into a body that could move and think and kill.
I think I've seen that Marvel movie.
I think it's called Terminator, actually, not a Marvel film. But
Lawnmower Man.
I'll tell you what, this actually started as a lighthearted, haha, Darth Vader's cussing news, and now it's getting pretty bleak. So when the robots come calling, you heard it at Dork Wars first. Dork Wars, the podcast, has a merchandise store.
Merchandising. Merchandising? What's that? Merchandising. Come, I'll show you. Open up the store.
We've got Dork Wars the t-shirt, Dork Wars the hoodie, Dork Wars the coffee mug, and we even have Dork Wars the Uncle Harlo. That's not true because who the heck is Uncle Harlo? I still don't know. We'll get there. We'll get there. But Dork Wars the podcast does have all that other stuff. We have the t-shirts, the hoodies, the coffee mugs, the stickers, a whole bunch of different things. So go check out dorkwarspodcast.com. There you can find everywhere we stream. You can find our YouTube page, which you might be on right now, the Spotify page, which you may be on right now, or all the other podcatchers, Apple Podcast, Deezer, Good Pods, all those other ones. But I should tell you that the video that you're seeing or not seeing, if you want to see the video, you have to go to YouTube or Spotify. The video portion of this podcast is not available on any other platform. As of yet, those platforms have not conformed with the times. So, if you want to see our bright, smiling faces and sometimes crying over the death of humanity by AI, switch to YouTube or Spotify. Dork Wars, the podcast, is part of the Subculture Podcast Network.
This show is part of the Subculture Podcast Network. For pop culture and entertainment podcasts, go to bio.link/subculturepodnetwork. Prepare to be entertained.
Tonight, we are going to talk about the last 3 episodes in season 2 of Andor. Those are Make It Stop, Who Else Knows, and Jeddah, Kyber, Urso. So before we get started, I do want to put the spoiler warning out there. We are going to be spoiling all of Andor now. Seasons 1, 2, Rogue One. If you ain't seen Rogue One, I don't even know what you're doing here. But we are spoiling it all. Everything's on the table. So if you have not seen Andor Season 2, Episodes 10, 11, and 12, pause Dork Wars podcast. Go to Disney Plus. It's for you, Wesley. Remember, you got to click the Disney Plus, and you got to hit the right tab. You got to hit the Andor tab and watch these last 3 episodes. Then come back to Dork Wars and listen to what we got to say. If you agree, comment. If you don't agree, comment. Just let's have some conversation about it. But before we have a conversation with you, we're going to have a conversation with ourselves. Wesley, I'm coming to you first, brother. What are your general thoughts on these 3 episodes of season 2 of Andor?
I want more, man. Like I feel like I just didn't get enough. You know what I mean? Like you just want more of it in your hands and your face and
Oh, yeah?
Wait, what are we talking about here?
Is
No, I'm just kidding.
how hot is Andor? Anyways.
No, no. I left the show feeling like it didn't reach the same peak as the previous 3 episodes, but I think we got closure. You know, we knew going into it that it had to connect the dots from where we are right now to Rogue One. So
Right.
I think the writers had to. I think the writer did a good job of getting us there. And everything seemed to be resolved, in my opinion. Overall, I think it's a great masterpiece and job well done.
Very cool. Yeah. Definitely see where you're coming from with all that. Andrew, your thoughts on the last 3 episodes ever of Andor, not just season 2. There's no more seasons.
Well, I'll just be honest with you. It all was ruined to me because there was no pre-scroll text. So it was all kind of just bad and
Oh,
terrible.
God. Here we go
No, I'm
again.
kidding. This is honestly, I really enjoyed this. I'm on board with everything that Wesley has said. I knew that 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, I'm sorry. I cannot count. I knew that
Yeah.
7, 8, 9 was going to be like the peak. I just absolutely knew that the genocide was going to be the peak.
Right.
I have some gripes. I don't even remember all of them, so I'm pretty sure like my gripes are really like non-existent. I don't think they matter really. I don't think this is the absolute best Star Wars, but that's on purpose. I think this is wrapping everything up, so we're just getting, the end of a euphoric just I don't know. I can't really explain it better than
The
Wesley did, to be
bridge.
honest
It's
with
the
you.
bridge.
Yeah, it's just it's great up until the final weird montage walk thing from straight out of Zoolander. That's my one gripe. Uh, Loved it, absolutely loved it. Want more. Sucks that we have nothing to look forward to right now.
Yeah.
Nothing like top tier at least.
We will get to the walk. But I do want to call out your background, man. I do like Neil poking his finger through Deidre's head there.
Yeah, this is absolutely stolen art. I do not know who the artist is. I don't remember. I don't even know where I got it
That
from. I don't
is
know if it was
Neil.
from
Oh my god.
TikTok or Reddit. But this is like one of the best scenes in the show, to be honest with you.
I
Not
love that scene where
kidding,
Neil
but
is at the
yeah,
ISBA.
yeah, it's crazy because she wouldn't join the band. She tried to steal songs that Max Rebo wrote, and he's just trying to get it right through her head.
Neil is Max Rebo's son confirmed here on Dork Wars. No, that's awesome. So if you are the original artist, please don't copyright strike us. Just comment. We'll shout you out next video.
Yeah, no, I think it might have been on the Andor subreddit.
Nice.
I honestly don't remember.
We'll have to go there and post this episode. Dietrich, coming to you now. Your general thoughts on the last 3 episodes of Andor.
I'm just gonna have to disagree with both Wesley and Andrew. I just think it was top cinema, absolute peak. It was better than 7, 8, and 9.
Oh.
So here's the deal, right?
Okay.
Episode 10, you have the great meeting of Axis and Deidre. And to me, that is the apex of the entire series. Because it wasn't until
I did like that.
Axis gets involved with Cassian that he actually goes and starts his true like hero's journey or whatever you want to call his character arc.
Right.
So I'm gonna say I enjoyed it even more than 7, 8, and 9.
I not to disagree, I'm actually agreeing. I think that there are parts of this that were top tier. Like I can't
I
wait to
think
get into it.
I think seeing Deidre's up and comings. Oh,
Come up it's
Comeuppance.
come up its Muppets. What?
It
Muppets.
sounds so
Uh,
dirty,
George
but
Lucas is a Muppet. Huh?
did I just
No, it
hear
was just it's
R2D2?
great. It's great to
Yeah.
see her get hers, And for a long time I was thinking she might come around after the last series of episodes where Cyril dies. Maybe she would finally like realize the wrongs that she's been doing. But no, she just doubles down, and you know what? It's good to see her get hers. Then.
They don't
It's
Yeah.
even
cathartic
touch on
almost.
her feelings of Cyril dying, dude. That's kind of
No,
yeah.
they really don't. They really don't.
Sorry.
Which
But I think that's intentional. I
that's
think she is
intentional.
Yeah.
she is doubling down on her path with the Empire, and Cyril was used like the Empire, and she will use those who are under her too. And
I
Yeah.
got one more
she's
general
finally
thought.
down.
I'm so sorry, but I can't go without this. Suicide is badass.
Uh, for all those watching Dork Wars, if you are, I think we need to put a hotline up right now.
You can edit it out if you want. I didn't know if that would be acceptable, but it's just I can't believe it. That's insane to me. That's like I can't believe I didn't bring it up in my general thought. It's absolutely insane to me that they
Yeah, that whole scene, the opening like 15 minutes of episode 10 is just like, oh my god.
Yeah.
They have the whole little like introduction where she walks in and she kind of they're dancing around. He's being really charismatic and she's talking about just almost like she's a customer, but that that's not why she's there. She would never just be there.
Yeah.
See, I disagree. I was convinced that she was just there up until, obviously she started talking otherwise. I had hope that maybe he was getting away with it.
Yeah.
The scene is right after the whole Lonnie thing, and you're just like, oh, well, Lonnie was like,
Yeah.
I've been burned. So I'm like, to me, I kind of was like,
Yeah.
okay, no. And if it hadn't been after that scene, I think
Yeah.
I might have been a little more meh about it. But coming right after that moment, you're like, oh, okay, they got him.
Yeah.
You feel like he'd have a
I
better
don't know.
plan too, other than stabbing himself.
Well, I feel like they were surprised for some reason. I can't. I'm still in my general feelings part of the show, so I don't want to get too deep yet, I guess. But I think
Oh,
they were a little surprised that they had to
my
do
bad.
things so fast, right? If I'm trying to
Yeah.
remember that scene correctly, both he and Cleo were like, "All right, I'm gonna go do this. You go do that." Like they're kind of rushing off to get stuff
Kind of.
done.
That's kind of the general consensus there. He pours acid all over his comms, and he's got to do what he's got to do. But
Right? They were about to get out of Dodge anyway.
oh yeah, they were
So
definitely ready to. They knew the jig was up. Once Lonnie rang the bell, that was it. Ringing the bell was we can't go back. This thing's over. They know who we are. We have to get out of here. And I don't know if they were planning to go to Yavin or where else. We'll talk about that in a little bit just because of Luthen's relationship with the rest of the rebel leaders. Now, my general thoughts on these last 3 episodes, I'm going to agree more with Diedrich here. This was peak Star Wars for me, man. I enjoyed it almost as much, maybe more than last week's episodes, just because I knew where it was going. I knew there was not going to be a final final climactic battle. We knew that wasn't going to happen. We knew that these events would flow right into Rogue One and flow right into Cassian's motivations for Rogue One. I mean, we get that with the ending where it literally sets up his mission that we see him on at the beginning of Rogue One, where he's on the ring of Kafrene, and he's kind of chewing down Tivit, his contact that was in Saul's partisan group. So we knew that nothing crazy big was going to happen. While we do get big moments, such as the Luthen and Deidre scene, Luthen's death, just all these different things, getting to see all the rebel leaders in the same place like they are in Rogue One, seeing Bail Organa and uh, Cassian's kind of back and forth. Like there's some huge moments here, man, and there's some really human moments that I like. We see before Andor leaves on his last mission, he's watering the plants like Marva
Yeah.
did in season 1. Very
Oh.
just like his mom. It's very humanizing. It's those little things that this whole season has done. I think even more than the first season did, that kind of show the semantics of life in a galaxy far, far away. Not just the big shoot 'em up war fights, but yeah, he's got his plants. He's got to water his plants. Um, there's at the beginning of episode 10 when the ISB's listening in, and the guy, his little comm thing isn't working. He's like, just turn it on and back off again, or whatever. He's just like, mess with it. Like those little things, like that's just real world stuff that they stuck into here. It makes the world seem more real. So I appreciate that as well. Loving this Star Wars, loving Andor season 2, and I'm sad it's over, but you know, it had to end. It had to end. So before we get into anything else, I nominate Tony Gilroy to make Star Wars forever, his entire life till he's dead. He has to make Star Wars because his leadership and his direction in this show has been amazing. And I would love to see more from Tony Gilroy.
I agree with the last statement. He does not need to do all of Star Wars.
I didn't say all the Star Wars.
You
But
did.
he needs to do Star Wars till he's dead.
Yes, definitely. I think his philosophy is what I like is that his philosophy is about not having everything focused around Jedis. There are a lot of other people that exist in the galaxy. In fact, 99.9999% of the people that exist in the galaxy are just normal people. And
Yeah.
he thought that it would be very important to bring that sort of a story to light. And I think you're exactly right in your last statement of he needs to do more Star Wars. I think that when it comes to stuff that isn't related to Jedis, he might need to be involved, even if he's not directing or writing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'll tell you, man, this whole show is about normal people stepping up and doing what they need to do for the rebellion. It's just normal people who
Yeah.
said, I don't like what's going on. I don't like the Empire. I'm going to do my part to resist the Empire. So I think that is a main theme throughout Andor. Definitely season 2. It's pretty cool to see. I mean, I know like Mon Mothma, she was a center. She was kind of in that position. Bale's in that position. But like Vale, Clea, I mean, even Luthen. I mean, he's just starts out as a soldier, a dude who says,
Yeah.
you know what? Screw the Empire.
Yeah, it was refreshing to see the perspective of day-to-day activities through not the Jedi or not through the vision of the Force, but just
Yeah.
through, common people or
Right.
the Senate. And
And while we do get elements of the Force in here a little bit, not quite as prominent as last week, where we have the Force sensitive lady the Force sensitive healer who kind of projects some things on the Andor's like, hey, you're like a messenger. You're this person. There's a place you have to be. We don't get anything as tangible as that with the Force this week, but there's some definite things here, theme wise, that are forceful, if you will.
but we did get one. May the Force be with you.
We did get a May the Force be with you.
We also got a really
And
cool slow motion nod that might be part of the Force. We don't know.
did the Force make it slow motion or?
I don't know. He and the healer have like a moment where at the
Oh, yeah,
very
yeah, yeah.
end.
I think
You
that's
don't
just
remember that?
cinematic effect.
Yeah.
But,
I know. I'm not. It was a joke.
Yeah, they
like,
made eye contact.
Jesus,
I'm
dude.
sorry. I'm sorry.
I do want to say though, kind of going back to like Tony Gilroy making everything going forward. I think there's a
I didn't
place.
say everything. I just said he should do Star Wars till he dies. He shouldn't do all Star Wars. Let me.
I think there's a place for more campy kind of things. There's a place for like, I mean, we all love Skeleton Crew, and I think that had a tone that was completely different, but it was still Star Wars. It still had a place.
Run it back. He said all of Star Wars. He did say that. Run it back. He did.
Did I?
But it's okay.
We'll know. Somebody's gonna edit this, and okay, right here. Whoever edits this one, you need to stop right now, and you need to go back and you need to give us an answer in our group chat. Okay. All right.
I might be wrong.
If I edit it, I'll just make sure he does say it. Like I'll just.
I think we're seeing a solid increasing in quality of the TV shows, though, between Andor, of course, and
Mhm.
Skeleton Crew, which I think was still very good, even though we're talking about Andor, which I think we can all agree is absolutely top tier stuff. I think it even ranks amongst the actual films.
Films. I
It's my
I
agree.
new
mean, to be
favorite
to be
trilogy.
completely honest, I mean, yeah, it's
That's
fantastic.
Quadrilogy.
yeah.
It was four. It
That,
was four films.
that's another part of
It was
Oh
a
my
no,
cycle.
sorry. So Andor season 1, Andor season 2, and Rogue One.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. God, that's a long trilogy.
It's a lot of content. Yeah, it's a lot of
Yeah, but
Andor.
I can agree with you there, Dietrich. On the Star Wars TV shows as a whole, we're getting better stuff.
Mhm.
Skeleton Crew was supposed to be a little bit more whimsical adventure. Uh, kind of throw your cares away a little bit. I mean, obviously in the show there are things that matter, but it's a fun adventure. It's one of those things. But Andor is not that. Andor is a spy political drama that funnels into Rogue One that literally sets up the the original trilogy. So two very different styles of shows and both done very well, and I enjoyed both. I'm hoping this continues into Ahsoka season 2, please. Uh, but we will see. So let's get into the meat of these episodes. Man, that first episode, Make It Stop, pulls at the heartstrings, man. We finally see Luthen and Clea's relationship kind of where it came from. Why are they so close? Who is Clea? Where did she even come from? Why are they even connected? And I didn't even know I wanted that story, to be honest. I mean, on the surface, it seems like it's kind of not that important, but it shows Luthen's motivations since he decided to leave the Empire.
I
And
actually think
It
I
all
think more so than that, it shows Clea's motivations for what she's about to do in the episode.
Yeah, I was about to say,
right,
I think it
it's
more so
twofold.
builds up to the ending. Yeah.
And I think we've gotten to know Luthen so much, like it shows us why he's doing what he's done up until now. But then it also shows why Clea is doing what she is doing now. So
Yeah.
it rhymes, man. To quote George Lucas, "Oh, it rhymes." Um, it's you definitely get the who Luthen is and why he's the way he is, and then you get here's Clea who this is who she is, and this is why she can do this, and why she's gonna end Luthen's life to save the rebellion that he built.
Yeah, I don't like the word ironic here, or maybe poetic, but you know, he was like a father figure to her, and he saved her life, and
Yeah.
then at the end she had to take his life. But you can make an argument poetically that she had to save him by killing him.
Or
Yeah.
save his dream at least. Just save
Yeah,
the rebellion because w- the notion is that they are going to find out that the rebels are on Yavin because
Mhm.
they have Luthen.
Mhm.
So she has to make sure that doesn't happen.
It's gotta be such a crazy, like, I don't know, it's just such a crazy decision to have to make. And
Yeah.
whether or not, you know it or not, someone in the past has had to make that sort of decision, when it comes to just like espionage, real life
Yeah.
espionage.
The flashbacks were fun for me. I liked watching Clea become involved with Luthen. We find out Luthen's name, he was actually Sergeant Lear.
Yeah, they did a really good job of the switching back and forth, like a
I
really good
wonder
job.
if I wonder if that campaign, what's his name? What's his Luthen's actual name again?
Lear,
Lear.
Lear. I wonder
something
if that
Lear.
campaign that he's in before he's Luthen is Mimban, and that's also the place that Han was in Solo,
Oh yeah. It could be. No
because
no idea.
it
They
was
both have
army
the
troopers. It was not stormtroopers. It was not like
had
anything
like
that
the
we've.
mud troopers or whatever.
Yeah, they were
Uh-huh.
very dirty looking, and you would it's clearly a foresty kind of planet when you see
Right.
Clea later with them, and they're trying to sell some goods, right?
Right.
And so
And
what is that? Was that some sort of a also some sort of a genocide type thing or
It was just a very early on campaign that we learned about from the movie Solo, because Han is in the army at one point, and he escapes the army by leaving with some people on Mimban from the battlefield.
because I
right.
mean, I don't know, just the way it's set up where there's just a child, it kind of seems like this is also some sort of a
It's an occupation. The Empire's
yeah,
occupied this planet and they suck.
yeah, yeah.
And they were in the middle of some kind of confrontation with the natives of the planet at the time. So
Interesting.
Lear is his real name. He is an anagram of Ryle. So Luthen Ryle,
Ah,
Lear, same letters, just rearranged. Um, could also be a reference to King Lear from Shakespeare, who literally couldn't find his purpose in life until he was blinded, and his daughters are the ones that helped him realize, like, or the ones that helped him realize this. So, uh, maybe a play on Shakespeare. I don't know. It seems pretty closely linked. Worth mentioning.
and he was playing a role. He was an actor.
He he played his role well, and he said it from the beginning that he is setting up this entire thing to see a sunrise, or for it to see a sunrise that he will never see. And we all kind of knew that from the beginning. We didn't see him in Rogue One. Um, I didn't think he would make it this far, to be honest. I thought he would have died maybe last week, but no. I mean, right up until Rogue One, I mean, it all happens right here. I was pretty shocked by that.
Yeah, if I had to guess, like, one person that's gonna die and from all these arcs, Luthen would have been my number one choice.
Yeah. Yeah, we all thought it was gonna happen. I thought way more, honestly, I thought way more people were gonna die. But they did not.
True.
Luthen and Clea's story does uh they do switch between them very well, Andrew. I agree with that. You said that a few moments ago. You see a scene where they're uh doing something in the present, like Clea's breaking into the hospital and she's about to hit the detonation button, and then you flash back to where Luthen is kind of testing to see if she's gonna really be a part of this, and then she's gonna hit the detonation button on Naboo. We know that's Naboo that they did the bombing on back in that flashback, and he does it himself when he sees that she's committed. He does it to spare her the blood on her hands at that time, at least. I thought it was cool to see Naboo back in Star Wars. We hadn't seen
Yeah,
Naboo in a
man.
while.
Mhm.
Not a lot nicer than Tatooine. We didn't see any Tatooine actually in the
Mm.
show.
No
That
sand.
might be why I love it.
That might be it. It could have been hot trash the entire show, but no Tatooine and Diedrich's Inn.
If they could have just not shown any actual stormtroopers and kept it to all like
Like the
what the
city police.
uniform the uniforms the ISB were wearing when they would do the
Hmm.
raids, just not
Yeah.
helmeted, right? If they would have
Right.
just, I'm so tired of stormtroopers.
Yeah. Yeah. Aren't we all? Aren't we all?
I love stormtroopers and I'll never get sick of them. Bring them all.
So that was kind of the main focus for that first episode, was the story between Luthen and Clea. After the first 15 minutes, of course.
Yeah.
But I think that's the main focus of that story. Her climbing uh ever further to get to Luthen. She's got the old little granny lady that she sneaks in. I do want to say top tier captioning from Disney. You got Granny scatting, the subtitle where she's over here just getting it with her scatting noises.
What?
You didn't, so in the scene where Clea, and it's kind of like a distant scene, and you see him in a room, and the granny starts like scatting, like ba-doo doo ba-doo doo ba-doo doo ba-doo boo. Kind of sounds like the Cantina theme, maybe.
It would have been great if it was.
I don't know if it was.
So,
It's
so you can understand that song is a hit across the galaxy.
right.
Yeah.
So I think it may have been, man. It kind of sounded like it. And she's obviously like she might not be remembering it right. Okay, she's an old lady. You know, she seems like she's in her elderly years. So she was doing her best to scat the Cantina
I
Band song.
used to play at Jabba's Palace back in 119 BBY.
VBY. Yeah. I was in a parade with the Emperor. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's a
I'm about to
K2SO.
say, yeah, no, it's
But
How
sorry, I
great was
missed
he
that.
though?
Yeah,
yeah,
love
yeah,
K2.
K2SO is awesome. We'll definitely get to K2SO.
Can we talk about the first 15 minutes when you're ready?
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm headed now. Poor Lonnie. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Lonnie has been faithful to Luthen this whole time. He's been giving him insider information, has held back information for at least a year. We find that out, but ultimately tells Luthen what the Empire's been up to, why they've wanted to occupy Gorman, who Jen Urso, not Jen Urso, who Galen Urso is, excuse me. Um, why the Empire is on Jeddah. It's not just to get the partisans. There's some things on Jeddah that they need. It's all got to do with that, and they played it off perfect. That scene with them on the bench where Luthen is trying to get this information and Lonnie does not want to give it. And then
Yeah.
he's like, as soon as Luthen told him about the Yavin base, I knew he was dead. Like he was not going to give that information to someone who could be a double spy, you know?
See, I don't agree with that, but I don't know. This is I
I
have a
mean, I
big
do
gripe with
because
this
he
whole
killed him.
situation. Well, no, he did kill him, yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I just have a major gripe with this because they made it seem like he was giving up this crazy information, and all he gave up is that they were creating a big weapon, and they already knew that.
Yeah, but they didn't know the specifics. They didn't know that
They didn't get any
how big the
specifics.
weapon was.
They don't know that he gave him
Yeah,
no
they don't.
information. We don't
The Death
learn that
Star
this
has
is
not
a
been said yet.
yeah, the Death Star isn't discovered until Rogue One. And that's why I brought up, separately from the podcast, something that I wanted to bring up on the podcast, which I later learned I was just wrong because I thought that whole scene was so epic because he was learning about the Death Star, but turns out all he's learning is there is a big weapon. That's it.
I think the
Which is
name Galen Urso though is important enough to
Yeah,
warrant top secret whatever. Because Galen
yeah,
Urso is the guy making the whole project, so
right.
that's why that name by itself was important.
but that person isn't introduced in the show at all.
Right. This
Yes,
is a
but
new
We
person.
know
This is
that
somebody
because we've seen
Galen.
Rogue One, but like what I'm saying is that the scene is just like for someone else who wouldn't know anything about it.
well, they'll figure it out when they watch Rogue One
Oh
after
yeah,
these
no,
3
no,
episodes.
no, I get it. I just
So yeah, I mean in universe, oh god, what's his name? Axis. Oh my god,
Luthen.
Luthen. Luthen doesn't know about Urso at all, but now that he does know a name, he passes that along so they can look
Yeah.
into who that is, and then
yeah,
eventually
Well, the
link
big
up.
3, man,
that's a
Urso,
good point. That's a good
Jeddah,
point.
Kyber. He learns about that they're collecting Kyber crystals.
Yeah,
Not Gorman.
They well, Gorman too though, but he talks about why they were occupying Gorman. Calkite was
Yeah,
on
he talks
Gorman.
about Gorman.
He talks about Gorman. So they need Calkite for the lens that's going to project the Kyber energy to destroy planets. So
yeah,
I think they can kind of infer from Kyber and Calkite and jet like all these different things like, oh, this isn't just a weapon. This is a super weapon that can do damage that we never seen before.
yeah,
And it's time to go. It was that important. He rang the bell, right? He rang the bell. The one thing that he couldn't do unless it was time to get out of Dodge. And apparently this information was that important. So he tells Lonnie, "Hey, like this is where the rebellion's headed. I
yeah.
need the information." And
I
then
will
kills him.
say though that my doubt of that situation made the later scene more believable where everyone else thinks that Cassian is bullshit. When
Yeah.
everyone except for Bail Organa, everyone else thinks, Cassian is just full of shit, you know what I mean?
Well,
And so that kind of made sense to me because the whole like you don't really learn, oh, it's a big weapon, you know what I mean? But now
Well, even in
explaining that
Rogue
makes more
One, they
sense.
don't
Yeah.
believe Jin.
Yeah, no, yeah.
so like with Tivik, this is where you kind of get confirmation that what Cassian brought them from Luthen to begin with was true. He gives him the information about what the information on Jeddah, why the Empire's on Jeddah, what they're doing over there. That information with the information they get from Cassian, it kind of doubles down on what this weapon is. This was really important. Oh crap. It's all going down. Is in those first 15 minutes, man, we get a ton. We get Lonnie. Hopefully his family's safe. I'm hoping that they did something for them. I don't know how they would be.
I wouldn't
Just
I wouldn't count
No,
on it.
the Empire knows he's a spy.
no one's left on
They're
Coruscant to get them out. So yeah, I feel bad about that. So Dedra, whatever. We'll just say Dedra. So Dedra and Luthen, their interaction in the store was awesome. Just that back and forth, like kind of I know who you are, but you don't know if I know who you are, and they have this cryptic talk, and Luthen's like, "Yes, there's only two." In all, or Dedra says, "Are all the pieces in your gallery real?" You know, and he says, "Well, there's only two pieces of suspect," obviously referring to himself and Dedra. I think they're the two pieces that aren't authentic, if you will. Then she notices like his computer's in the back frying. She has already overstepped her bounds as an ISB officer. She she tries to arrest Luthen and it doesn't work out for her because he stabs himself.
I think what was also great about that scene was when she pulls out the communicator box, whatever, I can't remember what they call it
Oh
in the
yeah,
show,
the
but
Star Path unit.
it's the same thing we see in season 1. It's the very
Yeah.
first thing Cassian is trying to give to Luthien when they meet.
Right.
That really brings it full circle. Again, that's one of the
Yeah.
reasons why I just absolutely love that episode in particular, and of course that scene.
Yeah, but it is the thing that kind of started this whole hunt between Dedra and Luthen. That's the spark. And now it's come to a head 6 years later.
Yeah, that was a
Gr-
cool scene though to see because uh the previous scene, Lonnie actually briefed Luthen that hey, the Empire's on to you, Dedra's coming. I think there's a mission to come and she's on her way to come see you now. And so when she arrived to his store, they did their dance, they did their talk, and there's a part of him that was seeing, does she really know who I am? And then
That's what I was thinking too.
as soon as she pulls out the device, that was the catch right there. Well
That's what
done.
I was
Yeah,
thinking too. I thought that he was thinking that he might be able to have a chance, and so he was trying to talk his way out of it, basically. That's why I don't think, I don't know. I don't think he knew for sure.
no, I mean, I don't. Is there any way to know if he knew for sure? He knew for sure when she, of course, took out the Star Path unit. But yeah, I think
Yeah.
I think they were playing that cat and mouse game because Luthen knows who she is, and he knows that she knows about Lonnie. So why wouldn't she know about him to an extension? So I don't know. I think Luthen knows. I think he knows the whole time.
Yeah.
Well, that's why he doused his comms and he was ready to do what he had to do.
He was doing that
Uh,
before she showed up. He was
that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
already doing
because
that.
they
Yeah.
were they were doing escape plan. I mean, they had
Yeah.
plans for everything. It seems like now that, I mean, we'll get into it later, I guess, but what's her name? Uh, why can't I think of
Clea?
her name?
Clea.
Clea is, destroying an entire wall that was literally built to cover up a communication device. You know what I mean?
Right. One other thing about that first episode that I do want to point out, the hospital that Luthen is in. Oh yeah, by the way, Luthen dies. Clea kills him. Pulls his life support out. The name of the hospital is Lena So Hospital.
Bro, dude, when I saw that, I was like, "Oh, no way." That's awesome.
So Lena So is the chancellor in the High Republic era in the books and comics and stuff that have been coming out. So that's a cool callback to Lena So. I guess she was so well regarded they named a hospital after her. Even 100 years later, that still stands. So that's pretty cool. Even well, more than that. I mean, at this point, you're like 150 years removed from Lena So. So
Yeah.
pretty cool
W-
callback to the High Republic.
Well, this was like a Mission Impossible scene, man. This was crazy. This was the way she got in and out. That was insane.
And then Luthen Ryle dies with no fanfare, no mentions, no statues. He is the whole reason the rebellion is what it is. It would have never come together without him, and he dies with nothing, basically. Pretty sad. Pretty sad, I think.
Well, it's exactly how he said in the very beginning.
Yeah, and he
He
knew
he
it
knew
though.
the Empire was going to get him at some point, and he was willing to die.
So let's kind of move on to episode 11 now. Who else knows? Dum dum dum. So we find out that Dedra knows what the Death Star is. She knows what it's called. She knows what it's going to do. And who the heck shared those emails with her? The
Well,
messages.
sometimes you just get invited to a group chat on war issues, okay, and it happens more than you would think, okay.
It's a more common problem than you would expect.
Do they
Uh,
have signal in space?
right? I mean, the transmissions. Think she's just receiving transmissions of some dude like talking about the Death Star. I don't know, man. I'm almost kind of wary. Like, did someone leak those to her on purpose? Almost.
So she was in the meeting that was part of taking over Gorman. So maybe this isn't the best assumption, but maybe she was just part of discussions, and so because of that, like you said, she was just CC'd on a lot of stuff. Like maybe that's an explanation.
Well, when Krennic is interrogating her, he is like, "Why do you even know? Like, you shouldn't know any of this." That is his
Yeah, but
stance.
Krennic's whole story is literally just doing half and up and blaming it on everybody else. So I don't give a shit
R2
what
thanks
Krennic
you
has
for
to
that
say.
little spiel there.
Beep boop.
Sorry.
Yeah, what's interesting is that we know Deidre and we know how committed she is to the Empire and how ambitious she is to find Axis and Andor and all that. And now she's being tried by Director Krennic as if she is part of the rebellion. And so it's just interesting.
But she knows, like, when he says, "Say it, say the word," and I'm like, "Death Star's 2 words." But regardless, she does
Krennic
say,
half-assed 2 words, which is 1 word.
"Yeah." So she says, "Death Star," because it's 1 word, not Death Star. But she says Death Star, and we know that she knows what's happening. She knows what the Death Star is, what it's going to do. And she obviously doesn't, she's obviously cool with it. Like, it's not like she wouldn't go along with a huge planetary destroying weapon, but because she knows and because she failed, it's the Empire, dude. You fail for the Empire, game over. It's dog eat dog. They don't like rebels and they don't like failures. That's the Empire.
Yep, that's like a lot of fascist regimes.
Yeah, and I mean, you see it all through the original trilogy, man. Darth Vader strangles all the lead command, all the admirals. He goes through like 3 admirals because he strangles them all.
I'm glad we had this episode because this gave us more of Director Krennic and a little bit more development of him. Because I remember, like in Rogue One, when he was introduced, I just didn't really understand where he came from and why he's
Yeah,
important. And now this kind of gives a little bit more depth to that. I
yeah.
think.
they just throw him in Rogue One. It's like, oh, this is the guy who was actually overseeing the Death Star project.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. And then Tarkin, of course,
Because Tarkin
takes it
can't
out from
die,
under
so
him.
we need to have a villain who dies in the
Yeah.
movie. That's why.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Tarkin doesn't die until a week later, but someone has to die. It's Krennic. That's kind of where he came from. But yes, it did flesh out his character a lot more, and you can see. I mean, him and Partagaz under the gun. Like he Partagaz. I love
Bro.
this line from Partagaz because he's Partagaz is like, dude, you should have had this done already. Which is, and he even says, you sound like Tarkin because Tarkin's breathing down his neck to get this Death Star done. We're trying to get the Senate out of the way. We don't want them anymore. We need a way to keep the systems in line. So we're just the end all be all. We don't want any more questioning. We don't want any more rebellion. We want to fight the rebellion with this Death Star. No one's going to defect from the Empire if they know we can blow them to smithereens. So Krennic's feeling the heat here. Partagaz is even like, "Hey man, save your sermons for Emperor Palpatine. I don't want to hear your excuses. Like we're kind of both under the gun here, and you're not helping anything." So they're a little back and forth. They realize they're both pretty screwed. Um, they talk about making sure Clea is branded as someone who has a disease, not not that she's a murderer. She has a disease, so people will be like, "Ooh, I don't want to be around you." But also like, "Hey, we need to report this because she's going to infect the entire planet with some kind of sickness." Um, this is not the first time Partagaz has talked about diseases. He calls the whole rebellion a disease in one of the ISB meetings earlier in the series. He talks about all this other stuff, and later on, we'll talk about this in the next episode. But the disease thing keeps coming up as a theme with Partagaz. But yeah, he's thinks that Clea is a part of the disease of the rebellion, so it's kind of symbolic as well. Uh, so they're definitely feeling the pressure from the overall empire to get the Death Star done and to keep all this stuff under wraps. We don't want anyone to know in the Empire, the higher ups, that Dedra has leaked all of our stuff to the rebels. She's leaked what we're doing on Jeddah. She's leaked what we're doing on Gorman. She's leaked about Jyn Erso. Like it's out there now.
Well, y'all know why they think she's guilty, right? Y'all remember? So Lonnie
Oh,
has stolen her code
her
cylinder
codes,
for
Right.
like a long
Lonnie.
time.
her
Yeah.
chain codes.
Chain codes, whatever it was. No, chain codes are like your social security number. It's the little cylinder
Well,
thing that they put into everything. That's what it is.
Is that
He stole
okay?
that. That's how he gets access to her computer system in her office.
Yeah, but so for the record, this comes back to what I was talking about earlier. All that had to happen was for really Krennic to share information of the valet driver. And if Krennic would have shared the information of the valet driver with her, then she would have been able to discover uh Luthen much earlier, which this would have never happened. None of this would have ever happened. But that's why I was wondering why would she have all this Death Star information on her computer if she doesn't even have that sort of information, and that seems more in her lane. So I don't know.
Which
It's
valet
all really
driver?
confusing. Well, in the scene where he's like, say the name, and she's like, Death Star, and he starts saying, you're a failure, and he's like, well, I have to be, or you're just a little scavenger, and she's like, well, I have to be a scavenger because you don't give me all the information that I need to do my job, so I have to go and find the information. And she brings up this as an example. It's Luthen's ballet. It's just like it's a kind of a throw off thing, and it's probably why nobody remembers it.
No, I
But
think you're
it's
right. I vaguely remember that.
but it's like
Yeah.
it's kind of important to in my opinion, it's really important with her character because she is fighting so hard for this thing
That doesn't care about her at all.
that doesn't give a it doesn't care about her at all. It is just using her as a pawn.
And I think it further reinforces that like big bureaucratic fascist authoritarian regimes within their divisions don't work together. Like they're in
Yeah.
competition with each other. The ISB does not necessarily want the Imperial Army to succeed in their missions because they want to top
They wanna be on
everything else.
top.
And
Yeah.
right, they want to be right underneath Palpatine.
Uh,
So the organizations don't want each other to succeed.
And that is how Palpatine works, though. Even Palpatine wants Luke to kill Darth Vader in Return of the Jedi so he can take his place. Like it's all about dog eat dog in the Empire slash Sith Empire that's going on right now. So it, that's just the Empire, dude. And later on, we can discuss this too. It's at the end, pretty much at the end of the 12th episode, that we kind of hear a recording of one of the Aldani heist guys. God, what was his name? It's
Oh, the guy who
Nemec.
wrote the manifesto.
Nemec. Yeah, Nemec. So Nemec writes a manifesto, but well, actually, I think yeah, we'll get there at the appointed time. But this does come up again. Melshi, Cassian, and K2SO. I want to kind of get to this part of the episode. This kind of springboards into their rescue of Clea, which I mean, there's not too much to talk about there. They go to rescue her, but they look so freaking happy on Yavin, just playing their game. I think they named the game. Someone named it. There's apparently official stuff. I don't know what the name of the game is. We'll just call it
Space
Space
poker.
Space Poker
It was space poker. I
Dominoes.
mean, they were
Space Dominoes.
they were just
Yeah.
they were literally trying to. The robot was trying to. He was trying to lie.
Right. A lot of good stuff. So Melshi's there, Cassian's there, and then Wellman comes in and is like, "Hey man, we got this pulse message, kind of like a Morse code type deal from Clea. That of course it's under Luthen's name, so it will be responded to. And they got to go save Luthen, Clea. So
So
they
sorry. So on that note, like,
Mhm.
why did Willman have the radio?
So Willman is one of Luthen's agents, just like Andor is. Even though Andor hadn't talked to him in a year, Willman apparently stays in contact with Luthen. So I'm assuming that's why he has the radio.
Okay.
Yeah.
It
And
just
Andor would
seems
just
like
know
a
the message.
Right.
yeah. It just seemed like a very very important role. You know what I mean?
I
And
agree with
you,
that.
you think if someone's going to have the receive the messenger, I thought it would be Andor to have it.
Well, Cassian says he hasn't talked to Luthen in a year. He hadn't talked to him since he saved Mon Mothma at the end of the last episode, or last episodes, group of episodes. So
You know what would probably help explain that?
What's
Like
that?
like some sort of like a I don't know, like something to set it up, maybe like a pre-scroll text or something. I don't know.
but I can infer from the way that Cassian says he hasn't spoken to him in a year and the way that Willman receives
You-
the message.
That
There you go.
Willman has some crazy backstory where he's super important.
I don't know. I just don't think Willman had the role of being the messenger of.
I
You know
agree
what I
with
mean?
Wesley on this. It is a thing that isn't
Willman was
absolutely
important.
explained.
Andor. I mean, what'd you want? I don't know. We'll get to your scrolls another time. Maybe in Star Wars Episode 10. Maybe in Ahsoka season 2. Ahsoka had like a. You remember?
God, I hope
did you
not.
guys? Did you guys watch Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie? Back when it
I
came
wasn't
out.
allowed to watch Power Rangers.
That's right. I remember
Mhm.
that. It's weird, but
Yeah, it was a weird hang up. That was the only thing. It was the only thing.
Pokemon,
parents were
fine.
like,
Harry
"No."
Potter, sure. Power Rangers, no. I felt like when we were all kids, Pokemon and Harry Potter were the devil. If you went to church, right? But yeah, Power Rangers. Yeah, my parents never got on the Power Rangers thing. But yeah, Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie had the exact same kind of scroll that Ahsoka season 1 did. So I think they ripped them off. But then again, Mighty
Oop.
Morphin Power Rangers ripped off Star Wars with their opening scroll. So
Right.
Isn't all of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers a ripoff anyways?
no, it's an adaptation. It uses the exact same footage. So Cassian, K2SO, and Melshi go to get Clea from Coruscant. Their mission is to extract Luthen, who they think they're going to get, but they end up going to that apartment that Bix and Cassian stayed in, and it looks like it's been abandoned for a long time. Nothing's going on there. You can kind of tell it's time for all the rebellion to get off of Coruscant and find their home on Yavin. Unfortunately, Luthen just didn't make it there, and Clea is hanging on by a thread.
Isn't this suspicious? Wouldn't the Empire like be looking at this sort of activity? Isn't that what the ISB does? Like, wouldn't they keep track of these records and be like, "Oh, no one has used this apartment in a long time, and now someone's using the apartment," or let's check all the people that have used this abandoned apartment that's still getting paid for.
Well, I
You
mean, I'm
know?
sure they have.
There's probably no lie millions of apartments like that on Coruscant.
Really?
Yeah. I mean,
So
yeah.
one of my little, and it's such a stupid gripe,
Yeah.
but sometimes the words and the way they say things, like they'll use the word hour, and one of the ways they described where Lonnie was killed was across town, and there's all these other, and I think somebody called something a gun instead of a blaster. And it's just like they just overlooked some little things that occasionally took me out of it and reminded me that, oh, these are just, I'm not in a galaxy far away. This is
Yeah.
it's so minor because
But
everything's
yeah, but
so great.
across town on Coruscant is the whole
Right.
planet.
Yeah.
It is a city planet.
Yeah, I'd love to actually get like to be honest with you, just for my benefit, because I'm an idiot, I would love to have like a scale video or something just to see the scale of like all the cities that might exist on a planet like Tatooine. Is there just one city on Tatooine?
Oh no, there's several.
There's several. We actually get that in Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
There's
got-
there's a whole planet, like, well, most of the planet they show us, and there's definitely
Yeah.
Mos Eisley, Mos Espa.
Most Espa.
I think there's a third one too.
There's
That's a Moss.
Yeah, I can't think of what it is.
But I mean, I'd like to see like Alderaan. Like, is Alderaan just like a normal Earth planet? You know what I mean?
It's a
I just
lot
would love
less
to see that
developed.
stuff.
It's really
I know,
lush.
but I'm just looking for all like I don't know. I would just love to see.
Well,
I would love to.
He
look
needs
at that
he needs
kind
the
of stuff.
atlases.
Yeah.
I know that this is going to be like a stupid gripe, kind of, or it's kind of off topic. But my gripe with Star Wars as a whole is that we have desert planets, we have city planets, we have tundra, like snow tundra wasteland planets, but we really don't have any planets that have like polar ice caps, different climates. We need to get into that.
Off.
But why?
Star Wars. I don't
Why
know.
do you want that?
I don't know. It's
I think that's
What
one of
about
the things
Hoth?
that's quintessential Star Wars, right?
you have to go to a planet that is all one thing.
Yeah, it's just that's how it is. That's
just
so
how it
Star
is.
Wars.
It is so Star Wars. I will agree with that.
What's that planet in episode 2? It's a colorful planet with a bunch of giant flowers. And
Naboo?
they're having
Oh,
That's
That's episode 3.
Felucia. Yeah.
Is that 3? Okay.
Yeah.
Felucia.
Yeah.
It's where my friend Ayla Sakura gets her comeuppance from being a Jedi. How dare her?
I think I remember that planet the most from the old Battlefront 2, where the accolades would come out of
Accolades
the
come in.
woods and just like
That's
getting
what
killed
Be
by a
along,
gigantic
move on.
praying mantis.
That's what I remember. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking of.
Scary out there on Felucia.
Felucia, yeah, I wouldn't want to be a Felucian. That's all
Would
I'm saying.
Naboo be considered a 2 type planet? Because on the
I wouldn't think
surface, it's
so.
way different than it is below the surface.
Well, they do have swamps and
They have
like,
a swamp and a
prairies.
city. Way to go.
No,
Yeah,
they've
prairies.
got very large fields, like rolling fields. It's the Windows 95 like basic screen. It's there's
Not
that whatever
wrong.
biome that is the biome of most of the surface of Naboo, and then they have some swamps, and then you go into the oceans.
Yeah, or the lakes. I mean, it was like a lake.
They have to, it has to be an ocean because they go through the planet core to get to the other side of the planet, right?
I guess so, man. They went into a little swampy
Because I
looking
remember he's
lake.
like, Boss Nass is like, you have to go through the planet core. It was a ridiculous thing. Okay?
What's that? What's that planet that you go to on KOTOR where you have to go down onto the surface and get an antidote?
I don't even know. It's been
Because
so
that
long.
planet reminds me a lot like Scarif.
So there's an antidote to the rat ghoul disease
That's-
in Terrace. Terrace is more like
Terrace.
Coruscant, though.
Oh, Terrace is part of Coruscant?
No. It's more like Coruscant, where
Oh,
it's
it's more
a
like
whole
Coruscant.
planet-wide city.
Dude,
Yeah.
Scarif is the beach planet, dude. That's where you go to surf.
Then I'm not thinking of
Well, not
Scarif.
in-
What's the planet he goes to on Rogue One? That's the one I'm thinking of. I'm sorry.
That's Scarif?
That's
or
Scarif.
Jeddah?
Oh, that
Are
is
you-
Scarif?
There's Jeddah, Scarif.
Like in the very beginning. I'm sorry. In the very beginning where he learns the Death Star.
That's Kafrine.
Kafree.
The
Okay,
ring, the
that
ring
one
of the rings of
reminds me.
Kafrine.
Ring,
Yeah,
the
that
ring.
one reminds
There's
me.
only one ring. The ring.
It's only
of
one.
Kafrine.
You're right. The ring of Kafrine.
Oh,
Kafrine
interesting.
is married.
It's not actually a planet. It's an asteroid, though, technically, right?
Yeah,
That's its whole thing. It's like a hollowed out asteroid.
right. Yeah. So someone put a ring on Kafrine. It's taken. So at the end of this episode, I do like that we get some K2SO action. They make him wait in the ship while they go to get Clea. He comes out of the ship because he hears a little alert, knows something's up, gets out of the ship. He walks
That's a
up.
reoccurring theme too. He'll always get out of the ship. In Rogue One, he always gets out of the ship.
Same thing.
He's kicking
Yeah,
butt, dude.
he waits there until it's time for him to not. But then he comes out, and some of my favorite lines here. The Imperials are like, "Are you with us?" Like, for one, why wouldn't he be? He's a KX droid. But then he says no and beats the crap out of him.
I feel like they did a really good job of what a big robot would do if he was fighting a human. Literally just pick you up and toss you around.
Toss
There's
you
no
around,
chance.
dude. Yeah. I love K2SO, man. I think we should have got more of him. I wish they would have introduced him at least halfway through. I would have taken K2SO like in the first episode. At the end of the first episode, we get him reprogrammed, or we scoop him up to be reprogrammed. But
I agree. We don't get enough of that.
heck no.
We love droids.
Well, that and Cassian, that's his buddy, man. That's his wisecracking, but that's what makes Cassian likable in Rogue One, in my opinion, is K2SO.
What does he
So-
say during that poker game? It's so funny. He's like, "You are going to fold" or something. I don't know what
Yeah.
it was. It was so dumb. You are going to lose.
Yeah, I mean, they introduced K2SO right after Bits left Andor, so I think that was a good way to kind of, shine a light a little bit and not leave the episode as dark and gloomy.
Dude, so what do you think he's doing with K2SO?
Are we gonna R2 that whole sentence?
Bow, what you go, wah, wah. So we got to move into episode 12, full speed ahead. Jeddah, Kyber, Urso. The most important information that has been leaked from the Empire to the Rebels. And now this is where we start kind of folding into Rogue One. We know there's not going to be any huge battle. We know that coming into the episode. But we want some payoffs. We get Clea. They rescue Clea. She comes to Yavin, and everybody is mad at Cassian because he disobeyed orders. However, he did not get thrown into a prison like Dedra does. On the contrary, they actually, we'll get to it, but they actually just sent him on another mission. But they do not believe him. They don't believe the intel that they get from Luthen. They hate Luthen over there.
Can someone explain that to me?
Yeah,
sorry about
this wasn't fully explained, and I'm sure it's probably picked up at some point early on that I missed.
Why is there such a divide between Luthen and the rebels?
Because he doesn't want to play with others. He wants to be in charge. He wants to be the tippy top, and he doesn't want to sit at that little council.
Yeah. Yeah. Him and Bale are kind of the opposing sides, I think. Mon Mothma's kind of caught somewhere in the middle because we see, like, especially with the extraction of Mon Mothma from Coruscant, Bale has his people, Luthen has his people. And Luthen wants his people to win. Like, he wants to be in control. He started this thing. He believes he started the rebellion.
Which he kind of did, but I mean, regardless, right before this, he saves Mon Mothma. So
Yeah.
why wouldn't all of these people be like, oh, why wouldn't they have changed their mind at some point? Like, I don't fully understand why they just have so much disdain. I can understand not
Yeah.
wanting to trust him, but when you're given that information and you have all this other information and it kind of is starting to make sense, how can you easily just dismiss all of that just because it's Luthen?
And to your point, Andrew, when has Luthen ever had bad intel? None
Exactly.
that we can tell. Never.
Exactly. So I'm with Wesley on this. It doesn't fully make sense to me.
And maybe it would have been written differently if Rogue One had been different. But remember, the rebels in Rogue One don't work well together, and especially in the early scenes. They don't want to join together. They don't trust each other.
And that kind of leads into my next part of my next gripe and why I don't think these episodes are as good as the last 3. Saw Gerrera. Why is he being such a R2 noise? Like, I don't get it. Why does he not trust anyone? Did I miss something?
I don't know why.
He's on drugs.
He's on the gas. He's on what's he called? He's rhydonium. He's huffing rhydonium. He's becoming more
What the hell is rhydonium?
More that's that space paint
the stuff
that
in
he's
it.
been huffing.
Did I miss something? I thought that was just oxygen. Wait, did I miss?
We learn it's not.
That's what we all thought too, until the last set of episodes. Not the last set, the set before that.
It was in 4, 5, 6, right?
Yeah, where Willman goes to work with
yeah.
him. He's like, "Smell the space dust." Oh, it's so good. Do you not? Yeah, y'all don't remember that scene? He's just like, "Oh, it's so great." Oh.
The guy that he interrogates, he gives it to that guy. He says it makes you crazy. It's that stuff. Okay, I'm sorry. I remember.
No,
that.
that's the guy. What's
that's
the
the
name
monster.
of that creature?
Oh, never mind. I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
That's the monster.
The
No, it's not
God,
the
what's
same
the name of
thing.
the monster?
Squid.
He's got a funny name.
Borgullet.
Yeah, Borgullet. Take him to the Borgullet.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm going backwards.
I love it. No, the Borgullet is not space drugs, but rhydonium is. We found that out 2 sets of episodes ago.
Rhydonium.
When
4, 5,
Willman-
6 is a blur to me.
Yeah, so,
I think it's closer to huffing gas because isn't it fuel of some kind? It's some kind of
something
energy
like
source,
because he's
right?
getting it out. It's like he's getting it out of like turbines or something.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
either way, that's what's in that little mask. He's huffing more of it. He's getting paranoid. He's getting crazier. Like
His
as time
thing,
goes on.
and they show it in Rebels. He's super militant. He's what you do when you just want to fight the Empire. You don't care about what comes after. And then Mon Mothma's too worried about keeping this coalition together that she's always fearful about actually taking the fight to them. So they're like these diametrically opposing views of how the rebellion should function. And I think this does a great illustration of that. And plus, he's high.
Yeah.
I was happy to see Saw Gerrera and Mon Mothma talk to each other. Hey, but can I say something? What, like,
Sure.
couple.
No,
No, Wesley.
not
Get
on
up.
this podcast.
You know what? Get out of here.
It's not
We're
necessarily.
gonna take him to the Borgullet.
Let me speak.
What have you really brought me? Cargo pilot. Borgullet will know the truth.
No, a few episodes ago, when Willman was helping out Saw Gerrera, and then Willman took the gas, and he got on drugs, and he was going to stick with Saw Gerrera. Then there's no mention of that ever again. Like, Willman's on Yavin, and he doesn't even talk about Saul, and he's not doing gas or anything.
We need
Hold
a
Have you
on.
free
never had a really
scroll.
fun weekend and then just needed to detox? Okay.
I'm just saying a lot of this would have been explained had there had been something that would have, symbolized
Free
Star Wars
scroll.
on every great Star Wars film. Pre-scroll text
And
just for
some not
fun.
so great ones.
I need a
Just for fun.
Wilmon scroll because I got some questions
Just a
about him.
Wilmon
Okay,
scroll.
so up until this point, the only questions about that we need
Just-
answered between
A
the time
Wilmon.
skips is what's up with Wilmon? What's he doing?
Hey, I'm with it.
Just the Wilmon scroll. We'll call it the Wilmon scroll. We got the Wilhelm scream. The and then we got the Wilmon scroll. So we'll just we'll write Disney. We'll write Disney about it. But yeah, I think Wilman's always been an agent of Luthen. And he gets sent to Saul. He spends some time with Saul. So I don't know. I think he was just kind of a plant for Luthen in Saul's camp for a little bit. So he knew what Saul was doing. Because Luthen got to know. Like we said, he wants to be the tippy top of the rebel pyramid. But yeah, they don't trust anything that Andor Cassian has told them. Not at face value. The only one that kind of seems that they want to entertain any of this is Mon Mothma. And that's only because, again, her and Luthen, while they didn't always agree, he did save her life. And they did have a
Bale's
pretty good
sticking up for him
relationship.
too. What do you mean? Bale was like
No,
hardcore sticking up for him.
no, not
What?
initially. It wasn't until the end. But
Ugh. And he really didn't stick up for him towards the end. I mean, and like Cassian just says, "Hey, you and Luthen would have gotten on better than you think." That's literally it.
yeah,
But
Mm.
Bale doesn't like Cassian because he's Luthen's agent. Like there's tension there.
it felt like Bell was in charge of everything. Did y'all get that sense?
He's one of the
Yeah.
heavy hitters.
So I think you get this sense that Bale is one of the biggest names and a heavy financial contributor to the
Yes.
early rebellion throughout Rebels and a little bit in this show. So my vibe is that he kind of pays his way in with his money and then his prominence as an ex-senator.
Yeah. Well,
I guess technically he hasn't
even
left.
he's
He
not.
never,
No, he's a senator
Yeah.
until he dies. Actually,
yeah.
yeah. He never. That's funny though. He never actually leaves the Empire. Dang, dude, Bail Organa kind of sucks.
I bet he did terrible things to get where he is now too. I bet he did
Oh my
really
God.
bad things to have all that money, insider trading, stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Dude, he's probably got his own like planet where he
I
takes
bet he's
people.
got. Bet he has slaves.
So one face I did like seeing was Admiral Radis. He's the fish face guy, the Mon Calamari
Oh,
that doesn't say it's a trap. He doesn't say that. That's not him.
oh, okay. Yeah,
But he's the
thank
one
you.
that brings in the hammerheads and they slam into the Star Destroyers in that epic moment. So he's got his own maneuvers.
Cool. So where the heck is Akbar during this? I don't exactly know.
He may not have defected yet, for all we know,
He
because
may
he doesn't
not have.
appear until Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, I like seeing Admiral Radis. Thought it was a good mention, but this is kind of where everything starts to decline. Not decline, but kind of roll into Rogue One. Before we kind of get into the closing parts of this episode, Vel and Clea kind of have uh, a reconciliation, I guess, because in their past meetings with each other, we kind of see them opposed. They're always shown in profile, facing one another, like they're always competing for Luthen's love, basically, or his approval. And now he's gone. And Clea is not feeling very welcome on Yavin. She tries to get away in the rain, and then Vel finds her, and they come together and kind of hash it out. They respect one another. They start talking, and seems like they're on better ground. So I think we kind of get some closure there. Vel has lost Senta, her the love of her life. Clea has lost Luthen, her father figure, and now all they have is each other. We also get that Tivik has been contacting Draven, saying that the only person he's going to talk to is Cassian Andor, assuming that's because they're both Luthen agents. Um, but one of the biggest things I think that happens is the Partagaz story. Well, initially, like Partagaz just seems like a throwaway Imperial dude. He doesn't mean that much. He's starting to. I don't. He ends up killing himself. Ends up committing suicide.
Can someone explain that to me as to
Well, I'm gonna
why?
try. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna
But
try.
He was literally going to die
but why? I don't
because he
understand.
failed.
I think they
The
just call him
ISB
Impressive.
failed to keep the Death Star a secret.
Yes. That was the reason.
But right before he dies, we hear the we hear the manifesto of Nimik being read by Nimik himself. If you remember, Nimik was in the Aldani heist at the beginning of the first season of Andor. Like that's really that first big arc ends with them getting off at Aldani, and Nimik was really the only one that was bought in. It seems. It seems like Vel and Sento were there as agents of Luthen, as well as Cassian. Cassian was, if you remember, Cassian was not all in on the rebellion. He was a mercenary. He was brought in as a hired gun. He didn't believe in any of it. But Nimik was a true rebel in the infancy of the rebellion. He had a manifesto, and some of the quotes here that are being uh, brought over to however Partagaz is listening to this, because he says he don't know where it came from or who said it, but it's recordings that they've recovered somehow. It says, remember that the frontier of the rebellion is almost everywhere. Imperial need for control is desperate because it's unnatural. Tyranny requires constant effort, which you can see with all of the meetings that they're having, trying to contain the rebellion and try to keep their hold on all the systems. Like it takes constant work to have this empire work. So Nimik's words ring true. And Partagaz, it seems like that it turned something in Partagaz. Like he's starting to like, you know what? Maybe the rebellion isn't the sickness that he thought it was. Maybe it's the empire. I think that's why he kills himself, man. I think Nimik's recordings, like his whole life's work is gone. He's gonna die, and it just seems like he's wasting he's wasted his time on, well, not on Earth, but he's wasted his time in a galaxy far, far away, fighting for something that's a disease. So that's how I took it, anyway.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe I don't know if he
Dang,
had
I get
enough.
all like emotional, just like, maybe I don't
No,
kidding.
no. I like that.
From a certain point of view,
No, I
I'm
like
sorry,
that
Wesley.
perspective. I like that take. I don't personally. I don't know if there was enough there for him to turn like that. I think obviously
I don't think
they
he
ended.
turned. I think he just realized like everything I've done, my whole life has been a waste at this point.
So I think you're inferring a lot from that, to be honest with you. And the reason I say that is because it seems obvious to me that the only reason that he offs himself is because he's failed in two ways. Number one, his entire mission was to make sure that people weren't getting the rebellion's message out, and that obviously failed. This recording is proof of that. And then number two, the ISB completely failed in preventing any information of the Death Star getting out. And so now the rebellion not only is getting their message out, but they also have the plans, or not the plans, but they have information on the Death Star that they shouldn't have. And it's his fault. And if he's going to meet the Emperor, he knows that he's going to die. That's what he's
Yeah.
being marched to death, and I guess, would rather just do it himself. I
Well,
don't know
that-
about assuming that he's, sad and fed up realizing, because I think Deidre's the one that really realized.
Well, yeah, she did because we see her in jail later. Everything
Yeah.
they turn on her too.
That Imperial soldier, I don't know his title, what his name is, the one that delivered the news to, what's his name, Portuguese?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And when he was waiting outside in the hallway and they heard the gunshot go off, he didn't even seem surprised by it. Like, he expected something like that was gonna happen.
Yeah. My only rebuttal to that is why play Nimitz? Why play Nimitz words that literally talk about the rebellion being unnatural, being basically a disease, when that's been part of Gaz's whole thing, is he talks about the rebellion being a disease. It rhymes, as George Lucas would say.
I can't really rebut that because I don't.
It does rhyme.
Did he actually like? Okay, because I don't remember the actual scene. Did he sit down and press a button to play that, or was
He's
that just
walking
being
around
played
his
in the
office.
background?
He's
Why?
standing
No,
there looking out a window, listening to it before he
but
shoots
that's a
himself in the
different
head.
scene than when he shoots himself. That's a completely different scene. Like he shuts
It-
the recording off when the guy comes into the room to talk to him. The recording stops. The recording isn't playing when he shoots himself. And if it is, it's
Right.
not because he
Okay,
played it.
he stopped it a minute ago, so he forgot everything it said.
No, that's not. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I guess I misunderstood what you were saying. My bad.
He was listening to it literally right before he killed himself. So I mean, I think it's symbolic. Maybe it's not. Might just be me. But at this point, this is where it all really goes right into Rogue One. Cassian gets his orders to go to the Ring of Kafrene, where we know he's going to meet up with Tivik and ultimately learn about the Death Star. Shoot him. Pretty cold still. God, it's so cold. It's even colder now. But either way, and that sets off all of Rogue One. But we do have the final montage where he walks very slowly and sees Meshi. Uh, Meshi is training troops. He sees the Force lady, the Force healer. She's unloading boxes, and they have their slow motion head nod.
This whole thing is so ridiculous, dude. It's literally, I swear to God, I want to put it right next. I want a video edit right next to Zoolander doing his slow motion walk because it's the
Yeah.
same.
Do you think it's corny? Do you think it's too
I
corny?
do.
No, I love it. I love it. No,
I do.
I
I
want
think
it more.
that
I love it.
some of it
You want him
was
more? You want him? You want
fine.
him passing Mon? Well, we see Mon
I
Mothma.
wanted every single character who was alive on the base to get a good like.
What's up, Radis?
I just feel
Raven?
like I don't know. I guess I could have my mind changed if somebody explained to me why this is so important. They already know that it's like a huge weapon. They already know this is bad. The rebellion's already doing great. This is a win for the rebellion. So why is this one mission of him going to the rings of Kafrene so important that it's a slow motion, like, I don't
Because
know.
it literally sets off the entire chain of events that ends the first Death Star, ultimately making the rebels win the entire war by Return of the Jedi.
And I don't understand that because this show is the story of how all of that got set off already. So this isn't
Right.
setting that off. It has already been set off. This is just a continuance.
Well,
I don't know.
no,
It's
because
just my
the
opinion.
whole point of Rogue One is they would have never got the Death Star plans had Jyn, Cassian, and the whole Rogue One crew, if they hadn't disobeyed orders and went to Scarif to get those plans. I mean, that's the whole point of Rogue One is they disobeyed orders. That's not the first, Cassian is going to disobey orders again in Rogue One. Go get
Yeah.
those plans and set off the chain, like literally set off the chain of events that caused
Yeah,
the
so
first
it
Death
makes
Star
sense
to
if you had
explode.
like a slow motion montage leaving Kafrene, but I mean, I get it. I get it.
Well, we hadn't been
I
on
get why
Grafene
they
yet.
did it. I know the people weren't there, so that's why they couldn't do something like that. I mean, I totally get it.
Yeah.
I understand why they did it. I just found it a little cheesy.
I think it's a little like cliche, but I think cliches are cliches for a reason sometimes.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
can be used in a good way, and I think this was a good way. But like I said, we get Melshi training, we get Force Lady unloading transport, head nod. Mon Mothma chilling with the boys and the troops in Vale, just eating, scrumming. That was nice. We've seen where she's gone from total diplomatic senator, all nice and dressed up. Now she doesn't wear any makeup anymore. She's got a bob cut because she don't have a good stylist, and she's hanging with the troops. One of my favorite. This might be my favorite in montage scene is Perrin, which is Mon Mothma's husband, riding with Davos Skolden's wife
Yeah.
after a night of who knows what's.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows? We don't know.
Drinking themselves to sleep.
Drinking themselves to death, probably.
Now,
He's not happy, dude. He looks so depressed.
I was going to say, like, he didn't seem really happy about his situation. Maybe he's
Yeah.
missing some of the Mon Mothma loving.
Mr. Mothma was not very happy.
Mr. Mothma was not very happy, was he?
I also gathered that he was not very happy.
So is Davo dead? Are they divorced? Or is his wife cheating on him? Who knows? I need that. I need Perrin, Mr. Mothma, a Star Wars story.
How did you know whose wife that was?
Because she's in the
Was at
first
the
set of
wedding.
The
episodes.
wedding.
Is it a wedding?
Like, as soon as you saw that scene, you knew for a fact that was her husband, and you knew that was
I knew who
some
she
other
was.
dude's wife.
She looked familiar to me. I had to do some digging to
That's
confirm
crazy,
who that
dude.
was.
I don't know how you just. That's so crazy. You just remember that.
I left that montage with more questions about Perrin.
Yeah, that one. That's the only one I have questions about because we don't see that in Rogue One. So
That's the only
way
one
to
you have
go.
questions about?
Yeah.
What about the baby? You don't have questions about the baby?
Got some questions there,
Andrew,
too.
when a man and a woman love each other very much, or they don't have to love each other at all, just need to be drunk, and they do it, sometimes babies come out 9 months later.
So where is that baby now?
Hopefully we don't find out. I hope we don't. I hope we never see this baby again. I'm not saying that because I don't like babies. I love babies. But he saw the sunrise that Cassian never would. He sees the end
Ooh.
of the Empire is a juxtaposition of the end of Rogue One when we see the Death Star blowing up, Jyn and Cassian are embraced, and the sun's going down on their story destroyed. And we see the sun come up on Minorau, which is the planet that they're on. His son gets to see the sunrise he will never get to. So, and I'm hoping he lives a good life and stays away from war. Please, I need someone to have a happy ending here.
It looked like Bits looked happy and she was doing well.
Yeah, I thought this was like a full happy. I thought the whole reason of this slow motion scene was to prove a full happy ending.
Have you seen Rogue One? Cassian does not have a happy ending.
The healer was like, "Yes, you finally found your cause," and then everybody else is like, "Yes, dude, we're doing it. We're the rebellion, and we're doing it. We're doing the dang thing.
Rock
Doing it.
solid.
You got to catch the happy times while you get them, okay?
Yeah, because it's about to get real choppy. Andor Season 3, Rogue One. I have just one or two questions. One, who the heck is Uncle Harlo?
Uncle Harlo is the people we lost in the battles against the Empire.
Uncle Harlo is the pre-scroll text we never got.
I need some of that Saul Guerrero gas, and I'll tell you exactly who Uncle Harlo is.
That's why I love you guys. I'm telling you, man. I really thought we were gonna get the Uncle Harlo reveal at some point. Never did.
Uncle Harlo is Darth Maul.
Oh, that's actually canon.
Oh gosh, it is now.
Until proven otherwise.
Can I
Until-
ask a question?
You can ask one.
Where is Jar Jar Binks? He's alive. Where is he?
Oh, dude, he's performing on the streets of Naboo at this point. He's been
Why isn't he
shamed
part of the rebellion ever? What's up with that?
because
They
no
don't
one
want
likes him.
They don't want him.
Everyone hates Jar Jar at this point.
There's a Gungan skull in
Yes, there is.
Luthen's little shop, but
Mhm.
Yeah,
I don't think it's Jar Jar
No,
necessarily.
so it's actually there's some sort of canon piece. I think it's like a book or something where it's proven that Jar Jar is alive during the New Order.
Yes, it is it's a book that focuses on Princess Leia and her. The New Republic finds out that she was Darth Vader's daughter, and she has to deal with that. There are excerpts from that book that we find Jar Jar on Naboo in the streets of Theed, entertaining children and being a clown because everyone's mad at him for giving the Chancellor the power to become the Emperor.
Why did wait? He gave the Chancellor the power to do that.
Yes, in episode 3, he's the one that
2,
do it.
episode 2.
2 and 3. It happens in 3 too.
No, it's
Jar
just
Jar's
2.
not in 3.
We're gonna find it. Yes, he
Jar
is.
Jar is in 3.
He
No,
is?
it's in 3
he's
that
just in the
he-
background.
It's in
right?
it's in 3. He gives him more emergency powers in 3, I think.
He doesn't know. It only happens once. It happens in 2.
Oh man, I'm a bad Star Wars fan now.
Oh,
Tisk.
so
I just
he-
watched doggone 4 movies in 4 weeks. Okay, that's
Well, time to rewatch episode 2.
time to rewatch episode 2. Maybe I just try to blot that out. I don't
You
know.
go from some of the best content to some of the worst content.
Oh goodness.
But yeah, poor Jar Jar. So let's go on and rate this thing, man. I think we've talked this thing up enough. We're getting close to 2 hours in, and I'm telling you, man, there's still more stuff I could talk about. But for the sake of our listeners, and for maybe Dietrich, who needs to go to bed right now, let's go on and rate this thing. I want to start with you, Wesley. What are you rating the past 3 episodes, these last 3 episodes of Andor Season 2 and the whole series?
Well, this is tough because this is some of the best Star Wars that I've appreciated, and it makes me wonder, the next Star Wars media that comes out, will it live up to this standard that's been presented to us? Probably not, but it's just that good. I mean, I don't mean that as a diss to anything. It's just I really like what was presented. Now, this arc in particular, 10, 11, 12, was it climactic like the last arc? No, it was not. Did it tie up the loose ends for me and connect the dots from Andor Season 1 all the way to Rogue One? I think so. I think it did. Excellent job. Well done. Do I have some questions about Wilmon and his role and his responsibilities and his character? Yes, I do.
We'll get it. We'll get it.
Are you going to ask another question with a follow-up answer to the exact question you asked?
Am I going to ask a question to myself and answer it? Yes, I am, Dietrich.
Yes, I am.
Am I going to give this a 9.5 out of 10? Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. We have a 9.5 out of 10. Andrew, what are you rating the last 3 episodes of Andor ever and Season 2 as a whole?
Goofy walk. Unexplainable actions by characters. Great story. Good wrap ups. Love the acting. Music good. Story great. Wrapped up. Loved it. 9.
Booga booga. Man need eat. Love it.
I like that.
No, for real, it was really good. It wasn't as good as the last 3. But I don't think it could have been because it was wrapping up everything, and the big thing had already happened. Did a great job. Everything else I said before in short term, assume I said it in long term. Imagine a bunch of adverbs and adjectives. 9.
I actually liked how concise that was. We're doing
me
ratings
too.
like that from now on. That was actually you
Why
got right
use
to the
big
point.
word when few word do trick?
And can I add one more sentence here to my review as well? I think
That was another question you're asking
no,
yourself.
not a question.
Oh, he was asking us.
Yeah, not a question this time.
You just said, "Can I?" Sorry, go on.
Yeah, sorry, Dietrich. One thing we haven't really talked about it much, but I think this whole Andor season 1, season 2, like Andor has a relation with Bix, and that's like a very important part of his character development and his role and what he wants to do. And then you go 1 year later into Rogue One, and he's like making out with Jyn Erso. So I think there's a little bit of a
No, hold on. No,
They
let me
never
stop.
made out.
I gotta stop you. Hold on. It's very okay. No. We can't get into it, but it's very clear throughout the entire movie that he is not in any sort of relationship with any of the women on that movie. He still loves Bix. The reason at the very end when he dies, he's hugging that girl. He's not kissing her, he's hugging her. And it's on purpose because they're friends, they're not in love.
oh
Sorry,
I'm agreeing
I
with
had
Andrew.
to get I had to get that.
I'm agreeing with
That's
Andrew.
this is something I actually did want to talk about, but we've never done Rogue One.
They didn't make out. They did not make out. And you know, I would have said that Cassian and Jyn were in love before I watched Andor. Even if
Agreed.
Bix would have died, if Bix would have ended up dying like I thought she would, I would say that they were falling in love and then they were embracing.
I'm inferring a lot.
But they never
Maybe-
made up. They never made out.
Maybe they
they're
did
not-
behind the scenes.
They're not related, dude. They're not brother and sister. They didn't make out. This is Star Wars.
Maybe they did.
So, Diedrich, your rating on the last 3 episodes of Andor and the season as a whole?
I'm gonna go a step further, and this wraps up seasons 1 and 2 on the whole. 10 out of 10, absolute cinema. It was better than the last set of episodes. I don't care what has been said by other people in this place. So, I'm done.
Mic drop. Don't do it. People don't understand that microphones are expensive and they don't need to.
Somebody
drop
left
them.
this mic at my house about 10 years ago,
I'll drop that one.
and it's gonna be a nice loud thud.
All the mic drops that happen throughout the world. I bet you no one that's ever done the mic drop owned the mic that they dropped, unless they were super rich. I don't know. Anyways, that's just I'm inferring a lot. There's no opening crawl to tell me that. However, my rating for Andor, the last 3 episodes and the series as a whole, bro, I'm gonna go with Diedrich, man. I'm gonna rate both seasons together and call it a 10 because this wrapped up so nicely. I've been given 9.5s and 9.5s. I never expected anything climactically amazing to happen in these shows because I knew where it was leading. The Rebels did not have a huge victory anywhere until Rogue One. And that kind of spills over into A New Hope. So I never really expected that humongous battle. There's not going to be anything like that in Andor. Knew that going in. And I didn't want that. I wanted a spy political thriller. And that's what I got. It continued. I didn't know that's what I wanted before the first season of Andor. But that's what I got. And I loved it. And season 2 did an even better job with the story. I think it even ramped it up even higher. Getting these episodes in blocks of 3 a year apart, having 4 years of content shoved into 12 episodes, splitting them up the way they did because originally this was going to be 5 seasons. Then they said, no, let's get the rest of this in on season 2. And I don't think they could have done it better in 5 seasons. That is just me. I like seeing the epic movie-like quality that each set of episodes had. This knocked it out of the park. 10 out of 10 for all of Andor. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Dork Wars, the podcast. We are finally done with Andor. Man, this has been a marathon. Coming through all the episodes we have released week after week. We've stayed on it for you guys. I'm hoping you guys enjoy what we've said. Definitely check out dorkwarspodcast.com. There you can find everywhere we stream, the YouTube channel, the Spotify, the Apple Music, all of it. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the things. Look at Wesley. Wesley has the merch on. That is one of the styles of t-shirts we have on the Dork Wars merchandise store. The what about, Dork Wars. Hey, that's us. That is the what about the Attack on My Birthday shirt that we did from the Acolyte, where everyone had the whole big Kiadi Mundi birthday debacle. So check out the Dork Wars merchandise store. It's on our website, of course. There you can find that shirt. You can find many others, hoodies, stickers, all the good stuff. So definitely check that out. We would love to have you guys follow us on Facebook, TikTok. Like, comment, share. That only helps us. And we want to get out there even more than we are now. We hope you enjoy everything that we give to you, and we would like to hear from you. So thank you, and may the Force be with you.
Thank you for supporting Dork Wars, the podcast. You can check us out on facebook.com/Dork Wars, the podcast. And if you would like to join in on the discussion or maybe suggest topics for us to discuss, please do so by joining our Discord community or sending us an email at dorkwarspodcast@gmail.com. This has been a
Family
production.